What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Drinking Through a Mask, a blind tasting adventure through the quarantine. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy out there. This is very exciting as we are starting flight number 2 today. For those of you that checked out flight number 1, thank you, and a couple things are going to be different. Hopefully you like the new camera angles, a little more sound effects, and some better overall video editing from yours truly as I figure this whole thing out. 2 other things to note. This and most subsequent flights will be in flights of 4 rather than 6. That makes recording a little bit more manageable, and as I talked about in wine number 4 from flight number 1, my endurance in tasting 6 wines was sorely lacking. So we're gonna pare it down a little bit and hopefully make better videos for you. And another change, we have a different source of the blind wines this time. You'll remember flight number 1 was a 6-wine blind tasting kit from Master the World. Yes, we still love Master the World and have more wines from them on the way. But the great people at FLX Hospitality, led by Master Sommelier Christopher Bates, are also getting into the blind wine game. As with Master of the World, the wines are going to be great. Just a couple of differences to note. The Master of the World kits come with 6 wines, has that great interactive website we looked at in the previous videos, and gives you custom results to your tasting. FLX is selling their wines in 12 or 24 packs, so a higher overall investment, but a little bit cheaper per wine at the end of the day. Christopher and his team have written really great tasting notes for all the wines for review on their website after tasting, as well as some great resources and thoughts about blind tasting as a whole. Links for both Master of the World and FLX Hospitality will be in the description below. Before we get started, I wanted to address one question a few people have asked me. What's my process for making these videos? Great question. So obviously, the first thing I do is blind taste the wines. I will promptly edit those videos, getting out all the stuff like, Then I'll record everything else in order, starting with this intro, the overlays for the tasting. Then I find out what the wine was. And then maybe I'll add or edit some of those overlays and figure out what the lessons from the tasting are and put those on at the end and film the recap. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about my specific process for this flight in the next video, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. I'm almost at 100. And while you're at that subscribe button, hit the like button too. That's the best way to show your support. Join the team. Okay, this intro has gone on long enough. Let's get into flight number 2.
The go-getter. I'll be the go-getter. Yes, I am. I'll be the go-getter.
Wine number 1 is a white wine. It is free of gas. It is free of flocculation. It is clear. It is golden color, medium plus intensity, silver rim variation, maybe a little bit of green to talk about. Viscosity here is, we'll say medium. The wine is sound on the nose. The aromatic intensity is medium plus, and the wine smells youthful. Fruits. We have some citrus fruit to talk about, some lemon, green apple, yellow apple, a little bit of grapefruit, some white peach. The fruit condition is just ripe. It's like really, really pretty, ready to eat. And it's kind of a combination of the flesh of the fruit and a little bit of the skins as well. There's definitely a floral note to talk about. Jasmine or a apple blossom, lemon blossom. Not too in your face, but it's definitely treating the wine pretty nicely. Herbs and spices. A little bit of like a cut grass. Nothing crazy in that spice department. Maybe we'll taste some more of that. And the vegetal thing, maybe a little bit of, again, that grass, maybe a little bit of a starchy thing like a potato or rhubarb. Earthiness, a little organic, kind of just, pretty general rock, mineral, a raw white button mushroom. I do not think there's any new oak on this wine. There isn't really any kind of sense of oxidation. The wine does smell youthful, so I don't think there's any oak on this wine at all. And the complexity seems medium plus. There's a really nice bouquet of fruit, flowers, and that earthy kind of thing in the background is really kind of putting it together nicely. All right, on the palate. Structure. The wine is dry. The acidity level here is medium plus. The alcohol level is medium. The body of the wine is medium plus. No sense of tannins, maybe a little bit of like a low phenol kind of thing. A little bit of a grip, a little bit of a bitterness. And the complexity here seems to be medium plus as well. So the fruits on the palate, very similar. Lots of lemon flesh, white peach, apricot, grapefruit. Definitely a little bit of like an orange peel kind of note that I don't think I really got on the nose, but I'm definitely tasting that one here. The florals are still rather noticeable. You get jasmine, citrus blossom, apple blossom kind of thing. pretty ripe and fresh in nature. The herbs, a little bit of like cooking herb, like a parsley. Nothing is really announcing itself. Nothing super distinct. Some spices, a little bit of like a white pepper kind of thing going on. The minerality is really coming through much more on the palate here. There's a lot of salty, kind of bracing minerality, a sandy kind of thing going on. And as well, there's definitely leaves to talk about, which I didn't talk about on the nose. There's like sour cream, Parmesan rind, a little bit of like a smoky kind of thing in the background. I think that's definitely adding to the body of the wine at the same time. I think the wine also could have gone through malolactic conversion. Definitely has a little bit of like a marshmallowy kind of fresh cream thing, but still pretty angular and tart on the texture here. Pre-conclusion for this wine, I think it is from the Old World. I think we're dealing with a moderate climate. Some varieties to consider here. I think we're looking at that triangle of death that us sommeliers really love to blind taste. So I think we're looking at Albarino, Gruner Veltliner, Pinot Grigio. So let's get rid of one. Let's get rid of Gruner Veltliner. Gruner Veltliner usually has like this big spicy white pepper. I just don't kind of see that happening here. Pinot Grigio, it could be. I think it's got a little bit of that texture that you expect. But I think that since that there's so many florals in this wine, we're going to go to Albarino here. So pre-conclusion, Old World, moderate climate, possible varieties, Albarino or Pinot Grigio from either Spain or Italy from a current vintage release. So I'm going to call this wine a 2018 Albarino from Spain from the Rías Baixas region, high quality. Okay, so here I have the tasting notes from FLX, and it looks like we did pretty good on the analysis at least. Both tasting profiles note that the wine is semi-aromatic, meaning that the flowers are talking a bit louder than everything else. Oh, and I really like that stale beer notation when talking about the lees. And at the bottom there, it looks like I did understate the alcohol by a notch. So what is it? Hey, it's Albarino, 2018 Grand Bazin from Rías Baixas. This is definitely classic Albarino. I've worked with this wine many times in both blind tasting and professional settings. It never disappoints. It's always delicious. All right, y'all, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and got something out of this video. Please take a second to like this video and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We might have a whole lot to talk about on wine number 2. Stay safe and healthy out there, and we'll see you in the next video.